After this first night, I couldn't separate Jimmy and Jack Teagarden. So we used to come up to my house practically every night. We used to come up to my house and, I don't know how they was making it, because we'd sit up there and fool around until 2 and 3 and 4 o'clock in the afternoon. No sleep. And we was working down there every night. And we used to sit there and drink all night and eat, these cold cuts and cheese and crackers and stuff. We'd do this and play. Playing all night. See, Jimmy and Jack both jiving each other. Both of them jiving each other. See, trying to figure out what he lacked that he could get from the other one, and the other one doing the same thing. See, and I dug it. I knew this was going on. He couldn't fool me, because I didn't get so tight so quick. You know what I mean? So I used to have to bring them both up. But I had the piano, and they could play all night. You know what I mean? I didn't disturb anybody or nothing. And the house was all well draped and carpeted, so nobody didn't hurt it. Nobody paid any mind. So both of them got their trombones, and I'm playing the piano for them. This used to go on all night long, listening to records and eating and talking, back to playing again and this. That was every night. Oh, Jack. Of course, he's never changed. He's still the same. And you couldn't keep Jack out of Harlem. You couldn't keep Jack out of Harlem. He made all of these, you've heard of these, what they used to call them, these house rent parties? He made every house rent party. And you see, the funny thing about it was, at this time, these people didn't know anything about Jack Teagarden. They didn't know who this was, And I was carrying him around. I was carrying him around to all these places because he wanted to go, And, of course, I won't have to, I won't have to mention what they eat at these parties, because they have some very peculiar delicacies, the food, see. But this was right down Jack's alley. And he's crazy about this kind of food. I didn't know anything about it, but that's what he wanted. I'd be looking for him. He's out in the kitchen with these people, got a great big plate full of this stuff that they eating. You know what I mean? And that's what he likes. Well, so it's funny, Jack made himself right at home, and always had that horn. He used to play. I don't know how this man he never slept. He playing the horn night and day. But that was a funny experience when Jack first came up, because Jimmy had never heard anybody play trombone like that. We used to do this stuff all night. Like say, sometimes it was like, sometimes it wouldn't even start till be 4 o'clock, like that, Well, it didn't last till 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, sometimes all the way till afternoon. Once I was up Jimmy's Chicken Shack till about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We finished this thing. And he wasn't getting a quarter. Wasn't getting nothing, and he's got a packed house. He can't move in the place, these people. And if we'd have quit any minute, everybody would have walked out. And we didn't even get a free drink. We had to buy every drink I had, I paid for, unless somebody sitting at the table asked me to have a drink or something like that. But outside of that, the boss, you leave off your drink. That's why, the union cut all that stuff out. The union, they don't want none of that foolishness no more. A person can go in and you can get away with setting in a spot, like, for instance, you sure the union's not coming in or something, and like going down to Minton's where they hire musicians, where they're playing, and like a fella comes off a stand and they ask you to play something for him. That's all right, you can get away with that. But I mean, these actual places, like Jimmy had no music up there. All he had was his piano, and we just go in, sit there and play all morning with the piano. Because there's always 2, 3 piano players around, like Teddy Wilson, Art Tatum, and Marlowe, and all that bunch. They was always there, So no lack for pianos. And then there was another one. Can't think of his name. They were all real good piano players. Clyde Hart and all these people, But But the funny part about it to me was used to be how these people, you do this in these places, and they'd get all these people. The house would be packed and jammed. And I mean, if we weren't there playing like this, there wouldn't be a soul in the place. And the boss, you know, he can come over and offer you a drink even. I mean, he could have at least offered you a drink, you know what I mean? And gee, you fellas sure sound good, you know, or something, you know what I mean? And pat you on the back and give you a drink, you know what I mean? And, you know, but nobody cared because everybody was enjoying themselves just playing for nothing.
Well, in the band, as it was set up, let's say in the 20s when you were 12, you actually played lead in the sax section, didn't you?
No. Don used to play lead with that band. And Don used to play lead. It might have been some things where they had the lead written for the tenor, but the majority of times I think I was playing just the, you know, the tenor part.
Did you ever double?
Well, clarinet and all the saxophones had a baritone, the bass, had a soprano, baritone, bass, soprano, and the tenor. Had me a rack and everything. And that was when I first. That's it really back those days you're talking about too. That's what it was because I quickly got rid of all that stuff off of me.
How long all told were you with Fletcher?
It's been right around 10 years. You're close to it anyway, you know.
The difference in your style from the very beginning and when you left Fletcher is really remarkable. Can you account for this?
Well, that's just like everything else. It changed automatically through different things that I heard, and it always shows in the music. I mean, it just comes spontaneously. I mean, you don't have to practice it. I never practiced anything like that, you know. I never practiced any particular thing to learn a style or anything like that. I never did in my life. I find myself playing a lot of things, changing them around and playing them completely different from what I perhaps would have played them a year before. But that just came through. I mean, different things I've heard. You know, I've heard it and I remembered it. You know what I mean? And the next night, I perhaps didn't even remember it. But maybe 6 months later, it'll show in the music I play or something. You know, like that. Well, that's what used to happen, and that's why the style used to change all the time. And I tell you something else I used to do. I was the only one. There wasn't anybody else doing this. I used to go out on these road trips with Fletcher. And that's one of the reasons why each time I came in, that's one thing I used to do. Every time we came in after a road trip, I always had me some new things. And you know where I used to find it? In these little clubs and places and all these little towns we used to go in and play, you know. Because when we got through playing, I used to make all the clubs. I mean, all the places. And they all had little bands playing them in those days, you know. So I'd make them. And I'd hear somebody playing something, or I'd hear something that sounded good, because there was a lot of good musicians all around the country at the time, you know, and a lot of good little bands that was playing like mad. I'm talking about these small combinations now. I'm not talking about big 16-piece bands. It's just strictly combinations. They were playing like all the places, like Kansas City and St. Louis and Indianapolis and all the towns, you might say, Detroit, every place. Well, we'd come back into New York, and I'd come up with this. I got some new riffs, you know. Fellas in the band, they didn't know they didn't even know where I got them from, because they never heard them. They'd be out trying to have a ball someplace. They're out looking for chicks and things. You know what I mean? I was finding places where I could hear some music, because that's all I liked, you know.